So Ravi Kirjani was confronted with the pregnant Ginny and reminded of that Sunday afternoon in the dry season when the canes were ready for harvesting. To the surprise of the Nareens, he did not argue at all. He offered at once to marry Ginny. It may be that for him it was a welcome opportunity to escape a connubial arrangement for which he had little appetite. Though Sunita Morpalani indisputably had background, nobody ever pretended that she had looks. Or possibly he foresaw awkward police questions that might have been difficult to answer once the fruit of his desire saw the light of day. Mrs. Nareen was staggered. Even Ginny was surprised at how little resistance he put up. Perhaps, she thought with a wry smile, he's not really so bad. Whatever his reasons, you had to admit Ravi acted honorably. And so did the jilted Morpalani family. If privately they felt their humiliation keenly, publicly they bore it with composure, and people were amazed that they remained on speaking terms with the man who had insulted one of their women and broken her heart. Sunita's 5 brothers even invited Ravi to spend a day with them at their seaside villa in Mayaro. And as Ravi had been a friend of the family all his life, he saw no reason to refuse. The Morpalani brothers chose a Tuesday for the outing. There was little point, they said, in going at the weekend when the working people littered the beach and one of their Land Rovers for the 20-mile drive from Rio Cristalino. They were in high spirits and joked with Ravi while their servants stowed cold chicken and salad beneath the rear bench seats and packed the iceboxes with beer and punch and rum. Then they scanned the sky for clouds and congratulated themselves on choosing such a fine day. Suraj, the eldest brother, looked at his watch and his feet shifted uneasily as he said, "It's time to hit the road." His brothers gave a laugh and clambered on board. It was an odd, sardonic laugh. The hardtop Land Rover cruised through Rio Cristalino to the crossroads at the town center. Already the market traders were pitching their roadside stalls and erecting great canvas umbrellas to shield them from sun or rain. The promise of commerce was in the air, and the traders looked about expectantly as they loaded their stalls with fresh mangoes, or put the finishing touches to displays of giant melons whose fleshy pink innards glistened succulently under cellophane. The Land Rover turned east towards Mayaro and moments later was passing the cemetery on the edge of town. The road to the coast was busy with traffic in both directions, still carrying produce to market, and the frequent bends and potholes made the journey slow. At last, on an uphill, straight about 6 miles from Mayaro, the Land Rover was able to pick up speed. Its ribbed tires beat on the reflector studs like a drumroll, and the early morning sun flashed through the coconut palms. Suddenly a terrible thing happened. The rear door of the Land Rover swung open and Ravi Kirjani tumbled out, falling helplessly beneath the wheels of a heavily laden truck. At the inquest, the coroner acknowledged that the nature and extent of Ravi's injuries made it impossible to determine whether he was killed instantly by the fall or subsequently by the truck. But it was clear, at least, he felt, that Ravi had been alive when he fell from the Land Rover. The verdict was death due to misadventure. 3 days later Ravi's remains were cremated according to Hindu rites. As usual, a crush of people from all over Trinidad, distant relatives, old classmates, anyone claiming even the most tenuous connection with the dead man, came to mourn at the riverside pyre outside Mayaro. Some of them were convinced that they could see in Ravi's death the hands of the gods, and they pointed for evidence to the gray sky and the unseasonal rain. But the flames defied the rain, and the stench of burning flesh filled the air. A few spoke darkly of murder. Did not the Morpolanis have a compelling motive? And not by chance did they have the opportunity and the means. But then they watched as the ashes were thrown into the muddy Ottawa River, soon to be lost in the warm waters of the Atlantic. Anyway, said one old mourner with a shrug, who are we to ask questions? The police closed their files on the case before the boy was cold. And he shook the last of the rain from his umbrella and slapped impatiently at a mosquito. You might have thought that the shock of Ravi's death would have induced in Ginny a premature delivery. But quite the reverse. She attended the inquest and she mourned at the funeral. The expected date came and went. 6 more weeks elapsed before Ginny, by now 13, gave birth to a son at the public maternity hospital in San Fernando. When they saw the baby, the nurses glanced anxiously at each other. Then they took him away without letting Ginny see him. Eventually, they returned with one of the doctors, a big Creole, who assumed his most unruffled bedside manner to reassure Ginny that the baby was well. "It's true he's a little pasty, my dear," he said as a nurse placed the baby in Ginny's arms, "but, you see, that'll be the late delivery. And don't forget, you're very young, and you both had a rough time. Wait a day, 3 days, his eyes'll turn, he'll soon have a healthy color." Ginny looked into her son's blue eyes and kissed them, and in doing so a tremendous feeling of tiredness suddenly came over her. They were so very, very blue, so like Father Olivier's. She sighed at the If you like our videos, you can support us by subscribing, pressing the like button and commenting. Your comments are very important to us. Thanks for watching.